Hello everybody, welcome to RPG Horror Stories, and listen, I'm hoping that you guys are having an amazing Oktoberfest, as per usual. Remember, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment down there, hell, leave your own horror stories in the Discord or in the comments. There's a high likelihood that I'll read them myself. Now, on to the story. DM makes my character into a sexual abuser without my input. Okay, so before this begins, two heads up. A big trigger warning for the implied non-consensual sexual violence and self-mutilation. Secondly, I want to point out that the Dungeon Master in question is a massive IRL friend of mine who's a good person, but sometimes when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, they get dicey. Okay, so this happened a few months ago at this point, but it's still really not sitting well with me, and I feel like sharing it. The only two characters of note are my character, Yenny, an Alan rogue who is in the process of becoming a vampire, relevant for later, and the Dungeon Master. This took place after a job in the campaign where the enemy ended up undoing a cult by revealing their shadow demon god as just a 20-something-year-old tiefling using illusion magic. We decided to spare the tiefling, and oh my fucking god, that's an amazing plot hook. I'm stealing that. Who was named Keith on the spot by DM. That is the most unattractive male name ever. Pops if you know the reference. And we kind of did the whole thing of adopting him into the party. My character claimed him as her own since they were about the same age, and I tried to work it out as this cute little thing the character could have. And the Dungeon Master went along with it too. I even had her use most of the money she earned from the job on a ring that would keep him safely near her in the event of an emergency, which I tried to make as another sweet little thing to play into it. This is also relevant later. The Dungeon Master went along with all of this and seemed to like it as well. Sus. So this is when things started getting bad. Also, when the sexual violence stuff starts to come in. Consider this a second warning to be safe. If you're not fine with sexual violence, look away. Because this is the only story for today, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Well, come the session, and the party is about to head off to do another job. And that? That's when the DM drops this lovely little description of Keith as everyone is gearing up. Paraphrasing, of course. So Keith takes off his shirt to put on another one. His torso is fucked up. There's a ton of scars from scratches, bites, cuts, etc. He also seems to visibly wince away from Yenny. The description caught everyone off guard, including me. Especially me. Now, I had made a lighthearted joke about a little bit of biting during the do because, well, vampire. But nothing to this degree. I literally never implied that Yenny even did anything along the lines of getting rough, other than the small biting joke. This was something that they just said happened without even asking me a single thing first. Just whipped it out of nowhere. The party kind of stared at me, mostly in character, so I couldn't blame them, and told her off, which I just went with because I was too nervous to speak up. I didn't know the effects that this would have across the rest of the campaign. I'm not gonna lie, I would be shocked as well, and just absolutely speechless if this happened from a small, oh, gotta get a little rough, some horseplay under the sheets. This only shows what the DM's into, which would be likely Fiona and Gudo. And listen, I'm a fucking degen. I'm into some really weird shit too, including Gudo. There's some I don't, fucking like God be like me to fucking go. No, I mean, like, I really appreciate the art style. That's what I like about it. I think there's something that you can only catch in the Gudo art style that you can't get anywhere else. And that's what I like about that genre. But this screams that this DM is fucking beating their meat to gore. So, terrifying. Well, fast forward to when the party has not only done the job, but is finished with it. Keith was set off to stay with some civilians for safekeeping and was out of sight. Some context for what's next, I had made an admittedly bad in retrospect comparison to the Castlevania anime. Small spoiler on the next sentence or two for those that care. And the ring that Hector has put on him by Lenora, those who are familiar with it. It was the only thing I could think up on the spot when I first described that she wanted the ring to be like, because I had watched the show and had it on my mind. I did try to mention that it wasn't meant to be as rapey as it was in the show. Warning, this is where the self-mutilation part comes in. So, when the party goes back to inform the civilians everything was alright, and pick Keith back up, he had grabbed a knife and cut off his own finger with the ring on it. When we returned, again taking a note from the anime and twisting the ring to be much more creepy and controlling than I ever wanted it to be. The Dungeon Master also added the nice detail that it apparently suppresses magic completely, a detail I never mentioned. Keith still stayed with the party after this, but always hung around other party members and was genuinely traumatized by my character, backing away whenever she so much as walked near him. The party also kind of became more hostile to Yenny overall after this, which, being fair, I don't judge them for it at all, since in character, as far as they knew, Yenny straight up was assaulting this NPC and raping them, since the implications the DM gave with the ring were that shit wasn't consensual. Oh, I'm surprised that's all the party did. Yeah, Keith being traumatized by Yenny lasted the entire several-month-long campaign, and this happened in the third fucking session. Recently, too, this came up in conversation at the table recently after a game. They were joking about the event a bit, and the DM said something along the lines of, yeah, he joined it at first, then the biting and scratching started. And I tried to go along with it, awkwardly laughing and trying to salvage this character a little by making a nervous joke about their safe word being Worcestershire, because haha, funny word is hard to say in that shit, because at least that implies they had one. Even a few months off, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth in regards to Yenny. Whenever I consider playing as her again, this event sticks out in my mind a ton, and makes me genuinely feel really uncomfortable with her. Too long didn't read. The Dungeon Master turns what I tried to make a cute relationship with an NPC into one where my character was a sexual abuser without my input. So, here's the thing. And, actually, you know what? Fuck, I just saw a comment that says one of the things that I was thinking. So let me pull that up. This is something a game master should never introduce without express permission, and it being discussed in Session 0. It's also something you shouldn't just laugh at and go along with, especially if the game master is a friend. Tell them right away that you're not comfortable, so that you don't end up with it souring your experience months down the line. Yeah, you heard it, folks. They said the exact fucking thing I was gonna say. The exact thing I was planning on saying before I even got to read this story. Seriously, if you feel like there's something wrong in your campaign, you need to speak up. No matter what time, area, or place you're at. I know that some of you are pretty meek, and I know that a lot of people use Dungeons & Dragons as a coping mechanism, but you really have to learn how to speak out against this sort of thing, because otherwise, it's gonna fucking ruin the game for you. Not just a single character. This OP got away lucky with only having a single character ruined by this Dungeon Master. Lucky! If it was any worse, the entire game could have been ruined for this person, and I feel genuine sorrow at that very thought. There's a lot of really bad DMs that do this sort of shit, and I'm unfortunate to know a few. If you can, you know, and like speak up for that other person in your party that might be a little bit more meek, a little bit more nervous, something that might not be willing to speak up for themselves, because sometimes they really need it. That's all we have for today. Much love. Stay sexy, and don't beat your meat to fucking gore like this fucking dungeon master does. Holy fuck.